This is the Fractal Design Era 2, and you might recognise it because I'm over 6 months late to check out this case and it has been covered to death.
The Fractal Era 2 ITX case.
Have the Fractal Era 2.
This is the new Era 2 from Fractal Design.
This is the Era 2.
If you want an in-depth review that's going to look at thermals and component compatibility, this is not that review, and I'd recommend checking out some of the channels I've linked down below. But if you're interested in modding, then I recommend you stick around because I've noticed something. Now before we talk about that thing that I've noticed, let's get this unboxed and take a look inside. Okay, let's see what Fractal includes in the accessories box. Included in the accessories box you get 8 mounting screws, they are UNC 6 30-seconds, you get 4 motherboard screws, 2 transport screws, you get 4 power supply screws, you get 16 M3 mounting screws, and 4 slim cable ties. You also get 2 premium Fractal branded Velcro ties and 2 120mm Aspect 12 PWM fans. Routed inside the case, you also get a low profile IEC to IEC adapter to connect your power supply to your main power cable. Finally, you get your power supply mounting bracket and mounting screw, and a sled for mounting 2 2.5-inch drives with inside the chassis. Now, let's talk about what Fractal says about this case. This case has a sleek, sculpted aesthetic complete with an anodized aluminium exterior and an FSC certified walnut top panel. On the front panel, you get 2 USB Type-A ports for connecting devices and 1 USB-C rated at 20 gigabits. You get tool-free access with a magnetic top panel, push-to-release top bracket allowing the exterior to slide right off. You can install graphics cards up to 326mm in length and pair it with a radiator up to 280mm for powerful SFF gaming. However, what's concerning to me is that Fractal themselves recommend only a 240 radiator in the top of this. It has an adjustable mid-spine with 15mm of travel for biasing either GPU or CPU cooler clearances, and it includes a pre-installed PCIe Gen 4 riser cable in the case and features dedicated mounts for up to 2.5-inch drives. So what's that thing that I've noticed? Well, for one, there's not many, if any, full custom water builds in this case, and two, there doesn't seem to be any case mods out there. So why are there no custom loops despite this looking like a really good candidate? Once you water block a GPU, particularly like Nvidia 30 series onwards or the smaller AMD cards, even Intel at this point, you open up a lot of space here for additional parts like distro plates, pump res combos, or even just extra tubing clearance. And this case has a pretty optimized airflow. So why? And I think the why comes down to that 240mm recommended AIO. Most people, when they build a full custom loop, they want two radiators, one for the CPU, one for the GPU, and then failing that, you go for the largest single radiator you can fit in your case. But the manufacturer's already stated that they only recommend trying with a 240. And if I take a look at this top mount, here I have a standard 280mm radiator by AlphaCool from the HPE series, and this isn't a large radiator by any stretch. In fact, from my research, this was the smallest one I was able to find to try and make sure compatibility would work. And it's close, but just no cigar. It just cannot fit in there. And that brings me on to point 2. That's very close. With a minor modification, I think that radiator would fit. So why is nobody modding these cases? I think that comes down to SFF essentially being a very niche market, already filled with premium products, and many of those products already allow for dual radiator systems and natively support 280mm radiators. And when a manufacturer comes out with such a visually distinct case, this is really nice in this charcoal. The Midnight Blue looks really good, I did debate that one, and there's the silver one as well. I think a lot of people just think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that definitely applies here. This is a really great looking case. However, I have already butchered an admittedly less premium Corsair Carbide Airflow 275, and I modified that to fit a dual radiator system. I cut holes in the top for additional airflow and mounted the radiator externally on the top. I cut a hole in the back to fit the D5 pump so that all the other components could fit internally, and I modified the PSU shroud to allow for a push-pull configuration on a thick 45mm radiator up front. And while I did plan for that build to be visually attractive, I was also going for an industrial, primarily cooling at all costs kind of mindset. However, that was my one and only case, or my one and only system, sorry. And because of that, everything had to go on hold. All gaming, video production, work, whatever, was on hold until I finished that build, which led to me cutting a few corners. That, however, is not the case, pun totally intended, in this situation. So if you'd like to see me try and fit a 280mm dual radiator system, full custom hard tube in this case, consider subscribing, give the video a like so that I know that that's what people are looking for, and come check it out. If you're more into just gaming, we stream over on Twitch, we are the Crap Streamers, and I may even do the final assembly of this build once I've figured everything out live on stream. So if you want to see that, consider going over there and checking us out. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.